Hi there, Rabbi. It's a pleasant day outside, but may not be so pleasant is some of the things bouncing around in the news these days. Public speakers have started to take aim at the Judeo-Christian alliance and what's wrong with it and how it needs to be replaced with an all-Christian alliance. What do you think of that?
I am all for scrapping the Judeo-Christian alliance. And without going into its history when it first appeared and the iterations it went through, I think that just clouds the issue. I think we have to look at today and the fact that there is no such thing as a Judeo-Christian alliance, but that doesn't mean one side's right and the other side's wrong. What I want to do is I want to scrap the term and substitute interfaith. Huh? Interfaith. Not
Ah,
one or the other, not one against, not one joined. Because, Joe, here in the United States of America, I bet there are more Buddhists and Muslims than there are Lutherans.
is that something that's going to retain peace or is it just going to cause more controversy?
If we want it, we have to get rid of the idea of a melting pot. I think that's at the crux of a lot of our problems here is we want others to be like us, but the us wants to be like the others, or the others. I've lost track of who's in charge of the melting and who's in charge of the pot. And I think that's led to a lot of our problems. We need to switch in politics, in religion, in everything to write our next chapter and talk about an interfaith America, individual identities. We're entitled to them. How about a potluck? How about a smorgasbord? Let's get rid of this because I think that's the problem. This should be a Christian country. Make everyone Christian. The Muslims are coming. It's going to be Sharia law everywhere. Let's drop that melting and take a look at individual identities that are part of being an American. You can be an American Muslim. You can be an American Lutheran. Hmm. You can be an
Well,
American Roman Catholic, Joe.
and I have been for a while, but I mean, nobody thinks that it's unusual if you go to Israel that you're going to see a lot of Jews in Israel. That even though the entire population of Israel is not Jewish, there are a number of other religions and faiths that are celebrated by the citizens. There are non-Jewish citizens in Israel, and the government doesn't make it a requirement to be Jewish. The United States doesn't mandate any particular religious belief. It's technically against the Constitution. But if there's a popular notion, and here I am playing the devil's advocate with Christianity, what would be so bad if we started calling the United States a Christian nation? Because there's a majority of Christianity in the founders and the people that are there. And look at all the Indians that we tortured and settled and slaughtered in the name of the faith. We are essentially a Christian nation in many ways.
And I think that was true at one point, but that's not true anymore. If we look at the Abrahamic religions, which we did the series, but in our series, we added Buddhism and Hinduism because we recognize that the three Abrahamic religions weren't the only ones out there. What you're saying was true at one time, and that's why I call it fake nostalgia. We're not going to go back to it because if we look at our population, that's why I said, I bet there are more Buddhists and Muslims than there are Roman Catholics in the United States. So, it's changed. And to try to go back to what was creates hate. It allows one group to have an excuse to rule over another, rather than stepping back and saying, we are a people with unique identities, and we welcome all these different contributions to what makes America great. And to be great, we all don't have to be the same. In fact, greatness really lies in diversity, not in torturing, deporting, scaring other people into one set of beliefs. And remember, the founders, they were against organized religion. You could say they were Christian, but they made it very clear that having a dominant religion would destroy our country. It would turn us against each other. And that's what this Judeo-Christian myth, it served a purpose. Its time is over. Let's put it aside and let's talk about an interfaith America. Let's talk about all of us being able to have unique identities and not want anyone to be forced into our camp. No, we don't want Sharia law, and I don't see anywhere that the Muslims are planning on instituting Sharia law, and I think that's the problem. There are those that want to use other religions and faiths as a tool to destroy, to attack others. Let's do just the opposite. Let's move away from a Judeo-Christian country and say, we're not a melting pot, Joe. We're a smorgasbord. And we have this feast, a Thanksgiving feast laid in front of us. And we all don't have to like oyster stuffing, because that truly is what the stuffing is, by the way, on Thanksgiving. If it's not oyster stuffing, it's fake, because that's what the Pilgrims ate. And I know that for a fact because I'm from Boston.
Well, I appreciate the concept, Rabbi. I have a feeling it was going to take a lot of heavy lifting to get everybody on the same level with that topic. But one thing that's very easy, I think, is for everyone to see that you've got a good head on your shoulders, whether you really like oyster stuffing or not. But thank you, as always, for your wisdom and guidance. Let's hope that everybody else can see some of that as well.
For those listening and watching, look at what politicians, podcasters, and other influencers do to us when they promote one religion, one set of beliefs over another. Look how it tears our country apart, and give some thought to this idea that Muslims are valid, Buddhists are valid, and we're not asking everyone to become the same. What we are asking is to acknowledge that we are an interfaith country.